President Pranab Mukherjee exhorts the countrymen to give a stable government at the centre. Says whosoever comes to power must have undiluted commitment to stability, honesty and country's development. President denounces corruption and hypocrisy in public life, says populist anarchy cannot be a substitute for governance, says one must promise only what is possible. President says the country needs social and economic progress at a speed of racehorse, says officers must eliminate the trust deficit between them and the people, wants politicians to either perform or perish. President says while democracy is fundamental right of every citizen, for those in power it's a sacred trust, cautions those who dare to desecrate the people's trust for their greed. Former CSIR Chief Dr. R. Mahesh Lekar and Yoga Guru BKS Younger chosen for Padma Vibhushan, singer Begum Parveen Sultana, actor Kamal Hassan, tennis player Leander Pace and Vidya Balan among other Padma awardees. India and Japan discuss ways to enhance defense, security and economic cooperation during the comprehensive summit between Dr. Manmohan Singh and his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe. Abe to be the chief guest at Republic Day celebrations in the national capital. And in sports, third one-day international between India and New Zealand at Auckland ends in a tie. Jadeja remains unbeaten at 66. Hello and welcome to Doordarshan News. I am Siddhant Sibbal and let's straight go to our top stories. President Pranab Mukherjee in his Republic Day speech asked the countrymen to give a stable government at the centre. He said whosoever comes to power must have undiluted commitment to stability, honesty and country's development.
Our democracy as a 64-year-old republic has achieved several magnificent milestones, but it's time we rediscover the sense of national purpose and patriotism, lifting the nation to a new height. The essence of the President's speech revolves around the major challenges of tackling corruption and shedding the loathe and complacency in the public systems in order to better deliver public services. President Pranab Mukherjee in his address has called upon governments to deliver. They are elected to deliver and hoped the next elected government assumes charge at the centre with undiluted commitment to stability, honesty and development of the country.
There will be a new government. Before I speak to you again on the eve of our Independence Day, who wins the coming election is less important than the fact that whosoever wins must have an undiluted commitment to stability, honesty and the development of India. Factors of instability have grown in the recent past. Communal forces and terrorists will still seek to destabilize the harmony of our people and the integrity of our state. But they will never win.
President has asked the voters to give a stable government and expressed the hope that year 2014 does away with the fractured and contentious politics of the last few years.
This chance will not come if India does not get a stable government. A fractured government hostage to whimsical opportunists is always an unhappy eventuality. In 2014, it could be catastrophic. Each one of us is a voter. Each one of us has a deep responsibility. We cannot let India down.
President, in no uncertain terms, struck at the root cause of apathy of our people. He said corruption and false promises being made by people's representatives is leading to disenchantment and anger.
Corruption is a cancer that erodes democracy and weakens the foundations of our state. If Indians are enraged, it is because they are witnessing corruption and waste of national resources. Equally dangerous is the rise of hypocrisy in public life. Elections do not give any person the license to flirt with illusions. Those who seek the trust of voters must promise only what is possible. Government is not a charity shop. Populist anarchy cannot be a substitute for governance. False promises lead to disillusionment, which gives birth to rage, and that rage has one legitimate target: those in power.
As corrective measures, President stressed on rapid economic growth, people's participation and involvement, and government's role in steering the country ahead.
This rage will abate only when governments deliver what they were elected to deliver: social and economic progress, not at a snail's pace, but with the speed of a racehorse. The aspirational young Indian will not forgive a betrayal of her future. Those in office must eliminate the trust deficit between them and the people. Those in politics should understand that every election comes with a warning sign: perform or perish.
The economy is on a rebuild and green shoots of revival are visible, and we have become one of the fastest growing economies in the world. President has appealed to all to take the opportunity with both hands to bring the economy back to the road of prosperity.
2014 is a precipice moment in our history. We must rediscover that sense of national purpose and patriotism which lifts the nation above and across the abyss and back onto the road of prosperity. Give the young jobs, and they will raise the villages and cities to 21st century standards. Give them a chance, and you will marvel at the India they can create.
Expressing confidence in the country's intellectual prowess and its human resources, President called upon people to usher an education revolution that becomes a launching pad for national resurgence.
The quality of education has to be the focus of our attention now. We can be world leaders in education if only we discover the will and leadership to take us to that pinnacle. Education is no longer just the privilege of the elite, but a universal right. It is the seed of a nation's destiny.
Our democracy has sustained the test of times. President hailed our commitment and rock-solid faith in our democracy, but cautioned those who damage this trust for their greed.
Democracy became our most precious guide towards peace and regeneration from the swamp of poverty created by centuries of colonial rule. For us, the democracy is not a gift, but the fundamental right of every citizen. For those in power, democracy is a sacred trust. Our democracy has never been betrayed by the people. Its fault lines, where they exist, are the handiwork of those who have made power a gateway to greed.
President summed up his speech by saying that the country's true strength lies in her republic and hoped that the year will be the year of its resurgence. Bureau Report, DD News.
Display of India's cultural heritage and country's military might will be the highlights of the Republic Day parade at Rajpath today. President Pranab Mukherjee will unfurl the tricolour at Rajpath and take the salute of marching contingents. The armed forces will showcase their talent and treasure of arsenals during the parade. Tejas, country's first indigenous light combat aircraft, T-90 Bhishma tank and MBT Arjuna Mk2 will be the main highlights of the parade. Along with modern weaponry systems, contingents from armed forces, paramilitary forces and NCC cadets will be marching to the beats of the bands preceding them in perfect unison. Another visual treat during the grand show will be the tableau from different states and ministries displaying a mini India. 13 tableaus from the states and 5 from various ministries and departments will be a part of the parade. The tableau will provide a kaleidoscopic view of a country's economic strength, cultural heritage and development of science and technology. This year's Republic Day will be special for 18 million hearing impaired citizens of the country. For the first time in the country's history, this year's Republic Day live telecast will have a sign language interpretation as well. Doordarshan has decided to telecast Republic Day with sign language interpretation in 3 of its channels: DD News, DD Bharati and DD Urdu. The live telecast of Republic Day Parade in sign language is one of more step in its endeavor to make all information accessible to everyone irrespective of disability. A total of 127 people will be conferred with Padma Awards this year. Former CSIR Chief Dr. R. Mahesh Laikar and Yoga Guru B.X. Younglager chosen for Padma Bhushan Awards this year. A total of 24 people will be conferred with Padma Bhushan Award. The list includes renowned singer Begum Parveen Sultana, actor Kamal Hassan, a writer Anita Desai and Ruskin Bond, badminton coach Pulela Gopichand, tennis player Leander Pace and late Justice Jagdish Saran Verma, among others. A total of 101 people will be conferred with Padma Shri. The list includes tabla player Vijay Ghate, sand artist Sudarshan Patnaik, actor Pravesh Rawal, actress Vidya Balan, Dr. Kamini A. Rao, Delhi University's Vice Chancellor Professor Dinesh Singh, women cricket player Anjum Chopra, cricketer Yuvraj Singh and social worker late Narendra Dabolkar. The Padma Awards are conferred by the Government of India to individuals who excel in the field of art, education, industry, literature, science, sports, social welfare, medicine, public life and others. On Saturday, India observed the National Voters' Day. President Pranab Mukherjee presented awards to those states with best electoral practices at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi. The President, in his address, lauded the Election Commission for conducting fair elections. The President also said that there are innumerable threats by the extremists ahead of elections. He added, in spite of this, the electorate has responded by overwhelmingly participating in the election process.
At the end of the Second World War, India was an exception. Despite its poverty, backwardness, and many other deficiencies, India very successfully launched the parliamentary democracy based on adult suffrage. Such a huge number of voters, though the number of political parties were more than 377. The recently held assembly elections in Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, whenever an extremist organization has given a call to boycott the election, the electorate have responded to that boycott call by overwhelmingly participating in the disturbed and extremist affected areas, whether it is in Jammu Kashmir or it is in Chhattisgarh or in any other part.
Young Mahika Gupta from Delhi saved her brother during the deadly floods in Kedarnath last year, while Shubham of Maharashtra saved life of 2 girls who were trapped in a car that caught fire. Like Mahika and Shubham, there are many more inspiring stories of children from across the country who are being facilitated on the occasion of Republic Day. Our correspondent Chandrasekhar Guwari spoke to them and shared their brave stories. In total, 20 children from various parts of the country are being honored by National Bravery Award, while 5 children are being awarded posthumously for their extraordinary bravery.
मैंने अपने भाई की जान बचाई थी केदारनाथ में। जब पानी आया था तो मैंने अपने भाई का पेट पकड़ा और मुँह नाक बंद किया, तो हम पानी से सारे ऊपर हो रहे थे। मेरे लिए और मेरे भाई के लिए सांस लेना बहुत ज़्यादा डिफ़िकल्ट हो रहा था। मुझे एक खिड़की दिखी, वहाँ से मैंने अपने भाई को निकाला।
एक छोटी बच्ची अपनी बहन के साथ आ रही थी तो गटर में गिर गई, तो मैंने बड़े नाले में उड़ी मारा और स्ट्रीट लाइट्स के कारण जो भी वाइट कलर की चीज़ें मिल रही थी, क्योंकि उसने कराटे वाइट कलर का ड्रेस पहना था, तो वाइट कलर की चीज़ें दिख रही थी, सब मैंने बाहर निकाली। तो लास्ट 10-15 मिनट के बाद में मुझे मिली थी, तो एक हाथ से अपने बैलेंस बना के उसे बाहर निकाले।
मेरे को 4 लड़के किडनैप करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे। वो मेरे को ड्रैग करके एकदम से पकड़े आके एंड मेरे को ड्रैग करके अपनी कार में लेके गए एंड उसमें ऑलरेडी 2 जने बैठे हुए थे। तो मेरे को जो अंदर डालने की कोशिश कर रहा था, मैंने उसको किक कर दिया। उसके बाद वो तीनों बाहर आए और मेरे को मारने लगे, तो मेरे बैग में से मेरा चाकू बाहर निकल के गिर गया एंड मैंने उस चाकू से उनको दूर भगाया और फिर मैं खुद भाग गई। मैं सबको यही कहना चाहती हूँ कि अगर तुम्हारे साथ कोई मोलेस्टेशन कर रहा है, कोई ईव टीजिंग हो रही है अगर तुम्हारे साथ, तो अपने पेरेंट्स को बताओ, बेझिझक बताओ और हमेशा अपने साथ कुछ ऐसा कैरी करो जिससे तुम अपने आप को बचा सको।
मेरे कॉलेज के पास से एक हाईवे जाता है, वो हाईवे पे एक ओमनी खड़ी हुई थी। वो ओमनी में 2 लड़कियां थी और ड्राइवर थे, और वो जो मैंने दूर से अंकल को बोला, अंकल आपकी गाड़ी को आग लग गया। तो अंकल पानी ढूंढने के लिए वो पास वाली बस्ती में चले गए। तो मैं और थोड़ा और पास गया तो उसमें 2 लड़कियां बेहोश ये जैसी हो रही थी। तो मैंने कांच तोड़ के और वो लॉक खोल के मैंने दरवाज़ा खोला, दोनों लड़कियों को जस्ट पकड़ा और 2 सेकंड गाड़ी के बाहर 2 सेकंड दूरी पे लेके गया, तभी गाड़ी का ब्लास्ट हो गया था।
Speaking on the occasion, Chief Election Commissioner V.S. Sampath said that the women's participation in recent assembly elections was a major achievement for the election process in the country.
3.90 crores new electors have been enrolled in the electoral rolls in the just concluded summary revision. Around 1.27 crore out of these are the newly eligible voters of the 18-19 year age group. We received consistently higher turnout in the last 23 general elections held to the various states. There was historic turnout in the most recent assembly elections. A greater achievement for us was in the field of women's participation.
India and Japan discussed ways to enhance defense, security and economic cooperation during the comprehensive summit between Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan Shinzo. The two leaders held extensive talks in the national capital. Shinzo is on a 3-day visit to India. He is the first Japanese Prime Minister to be the chief guest at the Republic Day Parade. A report by our correspondent Sakal Bhatt.
Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe welcomed the successful outcome of various political exchanges, dialogues and policy consultations held post their May 2013 meeting in Tokyo. Dr. Singh recognized that a resurgent in Japan in India's growing stature could serve as an effective force in East Asia.
Japan is at the heart of India's Look East policy. It is also a key partner in our economic development and in our quest for a peaceful, stable and prosperous Asia and the world.
At the summit meeting today, Prime Minister Singh and I exchanged views on a multitude of issues between India and Japan, including politics, cooperation and security, economic issues and economic cooperation.
The two prime ministers reaffirmed the importance and significance of defense and maritime cooperation, while the Japanese Prime Minister appreciated India's invitation for the next Malabar maritime exercise. Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh appreciated the frequency of security engagements between the two nations.
We noted with satisfaction the growing frequency of our political engagement and our expanding defense and security cooperation. Our bilateral maritime exercises have now been established on an annual basis, and we have welcomed Japan's participation in the Malabar exercises.
The two sides also expressed satisfaction with the holding of the first meeting of the Joint Working Group on the US-2 amphibian aircraft in December last year and welcomed the second meeting of the Joint Working Group scheduled for March this year.
Our negotiations toward an agreement for cooperation in the peaceful uses of nuclear energy have gained momentum in the last few months. Our Joint Working Group on US-2 amphibian aircraft has met to explore the modalities of cooperation on its use and co-production in India.
India acknowledged Japan's huge contribution to developing India's infrastructure, especially projects like Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, IIT Hyderabad and Chennai-Bangalore Industrial Corridor. The two countries also discussed reforms to the UN and expansion of United Nations Security Council under the G4 framework, which figured in the summit-level talks. Sakal Bhatt for DD News.
Ministers from around 20 countries gathered to discuss ways to capitalize on the success of Bali trade talks and move ahead with Doha development agenda. The purpose of the meeting was to initiate a dialogue on how to build on the success of the recently concluded WTO Ministerial Conference in Bali. The overwhelming need for structural reforms to sustain socio-economic growth resonated at the WEF, even as global leaders cautioned that monetary stimulus tapering and deflation could hurt the fragile recovery. On India, discussions mainly veneered around country's reform agenda, outcome of the upcoming general elections and ensuing political developments with the advent of the Aam Aadmi Party. As the 44th World Economic Forum annual meeting with participation of over 2,500 delegates draws to a close on Saturday, a sense of cautious optimism prevailed, especially since there was no impending dark clouds over global economic horizon. On to some sports news. The third one-dayer between New Zealand ended in a nail-biting tie to keep the visitor afloat in the 5-match series on Saturday. Ravindra Jadeja very nearly pulled off a sensational victory with some lusty hits, but could not take India home in the last over. Two-time runner-up Alina finally won her first Australian Open women's single title at Melbourne on Saturday after beating Slovakian Dominika Cibulkova 7-6, 6-0 in the final. It was 31-year-old's second major title after the 2011 French Open. Well, you can catch all the latest news from the world of politics, sports and business at DD News Twitter handle. That's at DD News Live round the clock. Time for recap of the headlines. President Pranab Mukherjee exhorts the countrymen to give a stable government at the centre. Says whosoever comes to power must have undiluted commitment to stability, honesty and country's development. President denounces corruption and hypocrisy in public life, says populist anarchy cannot be a substitute for governance, says one must promise only what is possible. President says the country needs social and economic progress at a speed of racehorse. Says officers must eliminate the trust deficit between them and the people. Wants politicians to either perform or perish. President says while democracy is fundamental right of every citizen, for those in power it's a sacred trust. Cautions those who dare to desecrate the people's trust for their greed. Former CSIR Chief Dr. R. Maheshlekar and Yoga Guru B.K.S. Iyengar chosen for Padma Vibhushan. Singer Begum Praveen Sultana, actor Kamal Hassan, tennis player Leander Pace and Vidya Balan among other Padma awardees. India and Japan discussed ways to enhance defense, security and economic cooperation during the comprehensive summit meeting between Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe. Abe to be the chief guest at the Republic Day celebrations in the national capital. And in sports, third one-day international between India and New Zealand at Auckland ends in a tie. Jadeja remains unbeaten at 66. Well, that's all in this edition of the news. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.